Hello, how you doing? Judging by the comments of the Carmelo Anthony video, what that tells me is that 99% of you don't understand bullies. You don't understand the victim's point of view. You definitely don't understand who or what the bully is. And look, some of you all, your children are bullies. And you know your children are bullies. Your son is a bully. Your daughter is a bully. You know that. But you're not going to do anything about it because you cotton picking afraid of the child yourself. You know it's true. Uh, you don't understand the bully. You don't understand the victim. As I said before, I come from a family of bullies. I know how they work. I understand the psychology of a bully. All of my siblings are bullies. Okay, all of them. Okay, so I understand bullies. I had to deal with bullies from the sixth grade among my peers from the sixth grade on up to 12th grade. All of a sudden, some greasy person is in your face for some strange reason. They greasy, they big, they nasty, they stink, and all of a sudden they in your face. And what? You're not going to run. I'm not going to run because that's not an option. I'm going to deal with them. I'm going to deal with them, and you need to deal with them, but you don't want to deal with them. You need to understand. The first thing you need to understand about bullies is that bullies are bullies all their life. They are bullies even into old age. I have seen them. I have seen the bullies my age that are still bullies. Okay, they bullies to the day they die. I have seen it in my own family where they are bullies to the day they die. I have seen it in my own family. Bullies are bullies to the day they are. To the day they die. I have no idea why they don't change their behavior, but they don't. Okay. The second thing you need to know is that you parents, you know that your son or daughter is a bully. You know that. But you're afraid to discipline him or her. You're afraid to confront that child because the principal, the vice principal, and the school administrators and the teachers know who the bullies are. They are afraid of the bully. I saw that in high school too. The principal knows exactly who the bullies are. Vice principal and the principal. They are afraid to confront it. Now, look, when I had to deal with bullies, I got suspended because I fought the bully back. I didn't hear where the bullies got suspended, but I did because I fought the bully back. I always got suspended. That's what happens in school. The principal or the vice principal suspends or expels the victim, but the bully keeps going on to school. You parents, you know that your child is a bully. You know your son or daughter is a bully, but you are afraid of that child. You will not confront him. You know the principal knows who the bullies are. The vice principal knows who the bullies are. They are afraid of them. So are the teachers and the administrators. They are afraid of this one person who wants to intimidate and torture everybody else. They're afraid of him. So they don't do anything with him. The third thing you need to understand is that bullies are relentless. They're going to keep bullying until the day they die, until there is a tragedy. Either they're going to get killed, because I'm being real, right? They're going to keep going until they get killed, or the victim dies. And you know what? It just hurts me. It hurts me to my heart to see children committing suicide over a bully situation. Then 10 years old, committing suicide over a bully situation. That has happened more than I want to admit. Maybe even 8 years old, they committing suicide over a bully situation because certain children will not leave him alone. And the teachers won't do anything about it. The principal won't do anything about it. So how many victims have to die before you all do anything about your son or daughter who's a bully? I just recently heard of a 17, 18-year-old who killed himself over a bully situation. I just recently heard that. Because you, as a parent, you won't do anything about your son or daughter who's, because you're afraid of them anyway. The teachers and the vice principal's not going to do anything about them. They're just going to keep nagging you about them. Your son or daughter said this. Your son or daughter said that. Okay. The bully has the principal, the vice principal, all the teachers and school administration on their side, and they know that. They know that the principal will not confront them. They know their parents won't confront them, so they're going to keep at it. The victims very seldom tell their parents anything. I didn't tell my parents anything. I didn't tell my mother anything. And I doubt that my sister did. My sister and I, we just dealt with it. It was stupid. Okay? Because it went on year after year, and we should have confronted them the first year. We should have done something bad the first year. And it would have stopped. Okay? You parents do not correct your child's behavior. You know that your son or daughter is a bully. You are intimidated by them, so you won't correct their behavior. I heard about a white guy. He was somewhere between 15 and 17 years old. He kept being bullied by the black guy. And so one day he just shot the black guy in the head. End of story. Like I said, bullies are going to be bullies until a tragedy happens. Okay. You need to understand, the fourth thing you need to understand is that bullying is a learned behavior. They learn from their parents. They learn from their uncles or aunts. It is a learned behavior. It goes on to generation and generation. Now, it is a spirit. If you want to get spiritual about it, it's a spirit. It's a spiritual problem. This bullying spirit. It's the same spirit that had slavery. It's the same spirit that kicked Indians off their land and killed Indians because they wanted the land. It's the same bullying spirit. You have a president who's a bully. So this bullying spirit is everywhere. My mother married a bully. Okay? And you can't fault my mother because my mother was poor. It's a lot of you women marry bullies, but they're bank vice presidents and presidents. So a lot of you have husbands, they're lawyers. A lot of you have husbands who are bullies. Okay. If they ain't no good, okay. Anyway. And judges. Okay. Judges are bullies. All of them. But judges are bullies. There's nothing honorable in that. This behavior is primitive. They are primitive. They don't act like civilized people. They just don't. They don't know how to keep their mouths shut. They always have to be in other people's faces. I've heard of people, they always got to be on other people's property. I've definitely heard of that. They always have to be on other people's property. Mexicans, Central Americans are bullies. All of them are bullies. You know, I see it definitely like I said, the next door neighbors are bullies. They always go in people's yards. They always park in front of people's houses. And dare anybody say anything. But see, I'm going to confront the bully. I'm always going to confront the bully. Now, look, my opinion is to confront the bully because running is not an option. If the bully wants to cuss, I'll cuss. If the bully wants to use lethal force, I'll use lethal force. You have to confront the bully on their turf. You cannot expect any kind of dialogue from the bully. You cannot expect any kind of civilized conversations from the bully. Don't expect that because they are what they are. Like I said, my mother dealt with a bully. It's the same personality, generation to generation. She married a bully. Like I said, some of you women are married to bullies. Some of you men are married to bullies. Okay? It's the same personality throughout generation. They want to intimidate people. They want to make people fearful. And the first thing you got to do, if you want to think clearly, is get rid of that fear. You got to get rid of that fear. It's just like going in the basement. I was fearful before I went into the basement. But I had to get rid of that fear. And I had to go in that basement and vacuum those bugs out. Okay? But I had to get rid of that fear. You have to get rid of that fear when you're dealing with a bully. And you have to confront him. Now, you take like a rat. You can chase a rat around the house, but eventually that rat will stop, turn around, get on its hind legs, and confront you. It might just bite you. Okay, that's why I don't mess with rats, okay? Bullies don't believe you're going to fight them back. They don't believe you're going to talk back. Bullies don't believe that, because what they plan on doing is doing the same behavior month after month, year after year, until a tragedy happens. It's the same old story. A bully would do that until the day they die. A bully would do that until there's a tragedy. Either the victim kills himself, or they're out of here. Okay? But the bullies will come into your space. Okay? And you have to understand, see, it would be first degree murder if Metcalf had never said anything to Carmelo, and Carmelo just reaching his thing and then go stab him. That was first degree murder. But Metcalf just had to say something to him one more time. Okay? I don't condone what happened to Metcalf, but I'm saying, and y'all too stupid to understand that it was a bully situation. And it was death. Something bad's going to happen. And look, you all don't know what happened that day any more than I know what happened that day. I'm listening to people who were witnesses to what happened. I'm listening to people who said this and said that. I'm listening to the peers. Okay, y'all just listen to innuendo. Y'all listen to, see, y'all live in a fantasy world. Y'all live in la la land. I don't live in that world. I live in the real world. I deal with my bullies in the real world. I'm not intimidated by them. I deal with them in the real world. You need to understand the bully, which you don't, because you live in la la land. You live in a fairy tale land. And you don't want to admit that your son or daughter is a bully. You don't want to admit that your husband or your wife is a bully. You don't want to admit that you're being bullied at the workplace. You don't want to admit that because you don't want to deal with them. You're too afraid. You cloaked in fear. Okay? So you don't want to deal with them. Bye.